Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
The show that struggles to color inside the lines. It's the audience of one show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you tend to get your podcasts from. On today's show, we discuss losing those unwanted LBs, going to extreme measures to stop a bad habit, and just how much do Americans actually read. I am Andrew, maestro of the run sheet, next to the guy who hid in a bathroom to get away from a SWAT officer. It's Dick. I did a cartwheel last week. Schisler. Does it really count, though, as we discussed last week, that cartwheel, if your feet don't really get above waist high? I don't know. There's got to be a different name for that. It's not really a cartwheel. It's more like a cart caster. I'm trying to think of a small wheel. Yeah. I don't know.
You know,
was there video evidence of this, though? I can't remember if I asked you that.
No.
Okay. Dang it. I really want to see it.
I still got like a half kind of like, yeah, you did it. Like they didn't care. But the opening you had about paint by numbers. So
no, struggle to color inside the lines.
Color inside the lines. So it got me thinking this weekend.
Yes.
I was hanging out with my nephew, and he was helping me. We were doing yard work. And he's like, oh, look what I drew. And it was this extravagant painting of like Berlin. But it was one of those rainbow, like it was black matte, and it had rainbow.
I don't believe anything anymore with AI, but go ahead.
And I was like, you did not paint that. And he's like, no, I did. Look. And then like he showed me, and it was one of those things where it's like a paint by number, but like you etch it. Like you're etching out the paper.
Number.
You're etching out the paper.
That sounds cool.
And there's like, it's behind the paper is some type of rainbow coloring. So it looks really cool when you're done. I was like, hey, just so you know, that's not drawing.
Yeah.
You were etching it out.
Yeah, I don't know that that's actually considered art. It's kind of like people who do things through AI and computers, and they're like, well, I'm an artist. Are you, though? Are you? So, yeah, I don't know if that really counts. I don't know. It sounds like it's wonderful. So you said this was your cousin?
Oh, it's my nephew.
We talked, I think last week you asked what the daughter of your cousin was called, and I joked that it was a niece-in-law? No, It's actually...
Oh, shoot.
I looked it up because I was curious. It is a cousin once removed.
So they're still cousins?
They are still considered a cousin, but once removed. And then their child would be still a cousin, but twice removed.
Interesting. I don't think I would call them cousin.
Once removed cousin.
Yeah. That's weird to me. But, yeah, did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend. Went out to the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah, always a banger.
It is a banger. It was really crowded, but I'm glad I went. Yeah, I got dressing up these days. You know, it's what I do. It's a lot of fun. I think it's actually more fun to dress up a little bit, play around.
I wanted to ask you, because I haven't been there in a couple of years, have they gone full digital there with, like, payments?
Yes. I mean, they still accept cash, but yeah, almost every place you go to now, you can.
Yeah, because I remember a couple years ago, some places only did cash.
Or as they call it, magic.
Yeah, I love that. They try to keep that up.
Yeah, and their fake British accents, gotta love it.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, that place is pretty strange, that's for sure. I wonder, again, this goes on my ongoing thing with you, what could I get away with paying you to do stuff for me for my entertainment?
I'm here for nothing else but to entertain you with your
extra
cash. If people don't know,
we have an ongoing segment where I'm like, how else can I, like, let's push the limits of
I'm going to write an intro song for this.
And I was thinking what I would do is you go to the Renaissance Festival.
Okay.
And then you dress up like as like complete opposite of what the Renaissance is.
Which would be like an astronaut? I don't know.
Yeah, like you.
What is the opposite of the Renaissance?
Well, because they have themes. So say you're a pirate. Well, I'd be like, you need to be like a colonist. And then you need to go around.
Okay.
You go around the whole time claiming they're the ones that killed your family, you know. But I'm talking about really crazy stuff. Like
Don't think I'd last very long
you
there,
see
man.
a Jack Sparrow and be like, oh, we found Jack Sparrow, and you have to like try to wrestle him and arrest him. And
That's not going to fly out there, man. I have a feeling.
but basically, you get paid for as long as you stay in the park. You have to do things though. You have to be actively interacting with people.
Okay.
And you have to like it'll keep going up and up and up.
All the way and up to lifting skirts. I know where you're going with
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. I had a good time. Weather was wonderful, as I said. A little wet the day before, so it was a little muddy in places. But other than that, cannot complain. Cannot complain. Food is
Yeah.
great, as always. Dick, I have an old pickup truck. I think you've seen it before. If you
Yeah,
haven't,
it's your old Ford.
yeah, it's a little old Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
And it's weird because when I get into that, it's like 32, 33 years old now. When you get in and start to drive, obviously it has none of the new technology on it. And I
Yeah.
go to reverse. In fact, it's a manual transmission. And instinctually now I look down for the reverse camera.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I'm so used to now looking at a backup camera that it's like, oh, I have to look at this reflective piece of glass to see behind me like a caveman. Oh,
You know what's
man.
fun- you know what's
it's
funny?
amazing how we've like relied on this
This
technology so easy these
this
days.
morning I had the same moment because it was very foggy, and I was leaving very early to go to a thing this morning. Happy Veterans Day, and
That was days ago.
well,
This is-
who cares? They know we record.
we're
the
recording
show.
significantly early this week, yes.
because I'm out.
You are
I'm
out.
But anyway, it was so foggy. My mirrors and everything were fogged up, and usually I get out and try to clean them, and so I can actually reverse out of the driveway.
Reverse.
And then I looked down, and I was like, oh, the camera's not foggy. I can just reverse out now. I don't have to do all that.
Look at you.
And I was like, this is the first time I actually reversed out of the driveway using the camera.
Wow, you were still using the mirrors.
Oh, I don't trust the
Back
camera.
in the day,
I don't trust.
when there
I
was
still
no,
don't
you
trust
don't trust the camera.
No,
huh?
I don't. Like, well, because it's especially like parking in this parking garage. There's a lot of pillars, and like it doesn't. It
love
beeps
this.
sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't beep because the walls where you back up are just wires.
Right, so it can't see them.
So
it can't
sometimes
sense
it
'em.
sees it, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm like, all right, this thing's not working. Especially when the pillars are near your rear view mirrors. Because I was sitting there going like, it says I'm going to hit it, but I'm clearly not going to hit it.
So prior to the backup camera days,
Yeah.
did you only primarily use your mirrors, or did you do the actual where you put the hand on the passenger seat and you turn your head around?
Yeah,
and
I
look
do.
behind you.
Well, I do the head around first
Okay,
to make sure like the wider view is if people are walking.
but then once you start moving, you turn
then
your
I-
head back
and
around
I
and just
do-
use mirrors.
That's the mirrors are for precision movement. For people movement, I kind of keep looking, just making sure no one's like wild carding on me.
What do you
and-
do with your Marlboro Light at that time, though? Do you put it out, or you just put it in the holder?
No, actually, I've gotten used to get it in the smoke in my eyes. So
Dangling from
so
your
I'm
mouth. I think
Uh,
I predominantly use the mirrors. I believe that's the way I was taught. But I think you are supposed to give it the old 1, 2, look
Yeah,
behind you.
especially if you're in like
You got to put the arm on the passenger seat because
Yeah.
that's dope when you do it that way. And then I think from there you are supposed to use mirrors. I guess I could have looked this up, but who wants to do that?
no, not anymore. You know, speaking of cars,
Yes, cars.
my mom got a new car,
Hey, congratulations.
and my dad got a new car. My mom got in a wreck, and my dad was already getting a
Oh,
new
you know what
car,
they're doing? They're
so-
spending your inheritance at this
Well,
point.
they've been doing that since I've been born, bastards. No, what was funny to me is my dad goes, "Hey, can you take some time teaching us how to connect our phones and all that kind of stuff?"
Yes.
And
You've become the IT tech support
well,
for
yeah.
your parents.
And I was explaining to them there's some great features, but then after about halfway explaining to them, I was like, "Why don't you just do what worked for you before you got this car? Because this is kind of confusing." And
You realize he had tuned you out after about 10 minutes. He was playing Candy Crush on his phone.
well, it's one of those things where it's like I wish I explained to my mother one time about this because this is how non-connected my mom is. She was in Austin. I mean, I might have told you this story. She was in Austin. She called me and she's like, "Hey, if I bought this record, can you convert it to a CD for me?" And I was like, "Yeah. What kind of record is it?" And it's a Dionne Warwick record.
Banger. Okay.
But it's like the greatest motion picture hits. I was like, that's on like Spotify and stuff. If you just got a Spotify account, you can just listen to it. And she's like,
Mind blown.
and she's like, "No, I don't want to do that. I want it on CD." I was like, "Okay." And then I literally, and-
I know where this is going.
yeah, I'm in the car with her, and I'm showing her how to plug in her phone. I was like, "It's funny. if you had it doesn't have a CD
The
player.
new car does not have a CD player. That's
but
right.
if you had Spotify, you could listen to your Dionne Warwick. And she's like, no, I just like I have that satellite radio, and it's the greatest thing ever.
That's when she pulls one over on you and goes, no, I'm going over to the car toys right now and getting a 6-disc changer
Oh, yeah.
installed under my seat, baby.
But
Suck it.
No, actually, I ran into that problem. We had a punk band come in, and they gave me a CD. I was like, these guys are pretty hard. I like it. And I was like, does my car even have a CD player? And well, anyway,
Does it, by the way? Because you have a 2024 model, don't you?
yeah, and it
Does it
doesn't.
have? It does not.
It does not. And it's a basic model too. I learned that because they have fancier Fords.
Yeah, I think yours is pretty up there, buddy.
Well, no, it's cool. It has the new features, but it doesn't like. For example, this is what I love, where it's almost like Apple's in control of all the business decisions
Right.
in the world. Where it's like, hey, let's just make it a little bit more convenient for the poor people, and not poor people, the less fortunate. So my mom, for example,
Radio station owners. Continue.
yes, nonprofit. Please donate and sponsor today.
So I can get the trim line
Yeah, no.
that I want.
No. This is what
I want the platinum, man. Donate to the show.
Well, I was explaining to my mom, I was like, hey, there's this thing called Apple CarPlay now in all vehicles, most of the vehicles.
Most vehicles, yes.
And if people don't know what that is, it's basically if you have an iPhone, in the past, you wouldn't be able to interact with your phone with the car with certain Apple-like things. But now, like in my car, for example, it only works if I plug it in.
Correct.
Only works. Well, her car, you don't have to plug
Right.
it
It's
in.
Bluetooth Apple CarPlay.
I have Bluetooth in my car.
Yes, but Bluetooth Apple CarPlay.
Apple CarPlay.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wish I had that. And then
Gotta get a new car now, man.
And then, well, that's why I said, I was like, now I gotta get a better version of my car, which I don't think there is because it's supposed to be a little baby truck. But yeah,
It's cute.
And
You
but
need some little truck nuts on there.
wait,
But just little ones. Tasteful
wouldn't that be
truck
great?
nuts. Yeah, I looked into getting you some, actually.
That would have been
but
really
they were
funny.
actually more money than I was willing to spend.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, we realized that, and then she doesn't even care. And then I was kind of trying to. It's what really fascinating about this whole thing is how much of a fan she says. She goes, I'm going to pay for this satellite radio. And I don't think I've ever really heard that many people going like, oh, Sirius XM, I'm going to pay for that.
Yeah, typically.
Usually it's like, oh, I want a free one, and then they try to keep the free going because
She put her foot down and said, I'm going to pay for
and
this.
she loves it. And I go, what a demographic they developed at Sirius XM. It's all people over 60 because they're buying new cars and they don't have CD players, and they get you.
And they got Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever station, whatever she likes. I don't know. Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me laugh because I don't
Donna
know.
Summer,
I don't know anyone that listens to Sirius XM on the regular.
Pablo Cruz,
Because the only reason I ever listen to it is to listen to the Astros.
Steely Dan.
So
Oh, yeah. I have it in my car.
because
But
I had MLB package because it came with it.
yeah, I have it in my car. But that's just because I have excess cash to throw around at things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you listen to it on a regular basis?
yeah.
Oh, see, that's interesting to me. Do you listen to it at home?
I do, because I have the app. That's how I listen to out-of-market Rangers and Cowboys games.
Ah, see, yeah, I can see
Yes.
that. I get. Are you listening to watch it?
I watch it when I can and listen to it when I can.
Interesting. That's really strange. The world's giving you a lot of options today.
Speaking of options, Dick, have you ever been to like a fancy restaurant and run into the carving station?
Yeah.
Where the guy's doing the
Yeah.
prime rib.
Yeah.
I figured so. I figured.
That's actually when I wake up, my cook does that for me.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about
Yeah.
that. Are you a fan of the prime rib?
No, actually, I haven't had I never had prime rib before until a year
That's
ago.
right. Your mom made it for Thanksgiving or
Yeah,
something.
no, I
You made it.
No, yeah, like I had it like 3 times in a week.
That's right. I remember this now. Oh, yeah,
like
that's
not
right.
connected. It was
Yeah.
like the first time I went was like my buddies were talking. His wife was craving. I was like, you know what? I'll go with
But I
you.
think
I've
you-
never had it before. And then we had it at like Roadhouse or something. And then like the next day, my mom was like, hey, we're cooking prime rib for our family gathering, and you want to help me? And I'm like, sure.
I had some last night, by the way. Yeah.
And then I did that, and then I think I was seeing my grandmother, and she was like, "Hey, I ordered prime rib," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm eating a lot of prime rib this week."
Cholesterol level's doing great.
Yeah,
No, the reason I bring it up is I remember specifically, I think I was in Las Vegas at one of these fancy casino buffets, and they had the prime rib carving station. And I thought, oh, okay, this looks interesting. And all the guys I was there with were like, yeah, prime rib, bro. So I just figured, oh, this is what I got to do. I don't want to stand out. And I remember when he sliced that off and put it on my plate, I thought, so do I have to cook it now? Because clearly this is raw. Like clearly this process has not been finished yet. And I looked over, and my buddies are just eating this stuff, and it's
prime rib's usually
it's
like
like
that.
cold in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's nasty. Man.
Well, I don't.
couldn't do
That's
that.
probably why I never went to the carving station because
It's raw.
I didn't really care. I was like, no, I don't really want to know what's going on over that heat lamp. I'm like, I don't really. There's so many. Well, I'm not really good at most restaurants that have a carving station because there's so many.
You can be
options.
bad at it?
Well, because there's so many options.
Okay.
So usually I'm full before I'm like really caring about that.
Now I see what you mean.
I'm not a great date at the all you can eat buffet. Just to let you know.
Thanks
And-
for that tip. Speaking of meat, when's the last time you saw one of those trucks driving through the neighborhood selling meat? You remember? It seems like years ago I saw those all the time, where you could buy like
there's
steaks out of the
services.
back of a truck,
There's services,
which always seems so shady.
which is like you can sign up for monthly delivery.
Oh, yeah, they'll
and
deliver
you
it
can
to
get your
you,
first month
sure.
right now.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we'll give you some meat right now.
That's how they reel you in.
So.
But they would literally come by, knock on your door. I got some prime rib or whatever and steaks. It's like, what is going on? And how did they decide on steaks? You know, how did that business market start? But anyways, I haven't seen them in forever.
You know what creeps me out about that market?
What's
is
that?
the price difference between like going to Kroger or H-E-B,
Yeah, significantly cheaper from what I've heard.
and then you go to like a butcher, and it's like I'm talking like astronomical more expensive. So like to get a brisket at H-E-B, I want to say is like the deals are usually like $3-4 a pound, $5 a pound. You go to the market I like, to the butcher at the market I like going, his special is $13 a pound.
It's a better cut.
I
Well,
know.
it's freshly cut, I think is the
Well,
deal there.
I don't really know, and I'm like, that's a lot more.
We need to have a butcher on.
That's a lot more money.
It is.
And is it because your quality is so much better, or is it because their quality is so crap they have to sell it at that low
I
price?
honestly don't know. I think it has something to do with the fact that it's freshly cut.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I know
man.
every
I
HEB
don't
is
know.
different
But I ain't buying meat off a truck, that's for sure.
because there is a central HEB. Like I learned for HEBs.
You mean Central Market?
No, like there's an HEB that gets the main produce, and then the meat they cut most of it there, and then they ship it to the outer
yes.
skirts.
So the further away you get from that central hub, the crappier the meat is.
Yeah, for example, if you go up to the one on Fraser North Side, they don't have a meat, like their meat market's not there. They just got rid of it. They get all their stuff sent in because I wanted to get special cuts, and they're like, "Oh, we don't do that. You have to go to this one." That's how I learned.
You're so high maintenance.
Well, yeah, I wanted a tenderloin that
Very
wasn't
selective
I
with
didn't-
your
I
meat.
wanted an actual like tenderloin, like the whole thing.
The loin of tinder.
So, because I was making friends that were leaving, and she's from UK, and I was like, "Oh, I'll make you a beef Wellington." I was like, "Goodbye."
Oh, a beef Wellington. Sounds so fancy. I don't believe I've ever had one.
That's pretty dang good.
Seems like that's a thing that went out of fad too. Seems like beef Wellington is something your grandparents would make.
Yeah, it was good.
What is it? I don't know that I know.
Well, it's basically a tenderloin, like a whole tenderloin, wrapped in a minced mushroom kind of mash, and then it has a pastry around it, and then they bake
I'm
it.
sorry. It's like a little meat pie?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a meat tube, and you slice it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What are they going to think of next?
But it's really good. And so, but I learned that about HEB. You have to find that one HEB that gets all the meat in, and then you have to special order that.
But how do you find it? You have to go to every HEB and just
You
kind
just
of
ask the dude.
sniff around.
They'll tell you. They'll tell you.
Look for the one that doesn't have a gerbil running around on aisle 13.
Like the one here over on the Loop, the other one on the Loop, they can do like half of the orders. And then if you wanted to get like half a cow, you have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I would imagine so. All right, buddy, let's go ahead and kick off the show. I have a question to ask you. Maybe it's too personal, maybe it's not. Are you a, not bed wetter, but a bed maker? Do you make your bed in the morning? I'm going to guess you don't have the look of someone
know
who
what?
makes their bed. I'm just going to throw that out
No,
there.
that's a good question because once I got a dog, I started making my bed.
Okay. I'm not sure the connection there. Did you want the dog to be comfortable when it jumped up there and
Well, my dog
slept during the day while you were out?
my dog likes
Making
to,
radio magic?
like burrow,
Okay.
and so if I left the sheets off
Oh, yeah.
or like open, because I sleep very like a mummy.
Do you sleep with your dog? Is this what you're telling me?
I sleep with my dog. Hell yeah.
No, dude. No, you can't do that.
But what happens
can't do that, Nick.
if I leave one of the sheets open, she'll get under the bed while I'm
yeah.
gone, and the bed will the bedding will be everywhere.
You know dogs are nasty.
Yeah, I'm
And
nasty.
you're sleeping. Well, touche.
I don't care. deal with it. I'm a lonely person, okay?
So I'm going to say
and
that
Freddie,
you do not...
Freddie is my girl. She sleeps at the end of the bed, and she just watches the door. That's what. It's really creepy, but that's what she does. But if I'm gone,
Ready
she'll
for
sleep.
attack.
She'll sleep everywhere.
Sure.
Like when I come home, I'll find her sleeping where I sleep, and then when I come in the room, she'll move over to her spot where when I, you know, what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I
But
do.
she'll burrow, and I'll find my sheets everywhere. Because when I sleep like a mummy, so it's really not hard for me to make the bed. I just kind of get up and fold the sheets back over. Like
God.
it's really weird.
She's Dutch ovening that thing all day while you're gone.
And so now I had to start making it so she wouldn't get over there and like go underneath. And yeah, and then it's one of those things.
I cracked myself up.
Well, you're Dutch ovening?
And I think there's... Yeah, I think there's...
That's not that funny.
I think that... I'm just picturing a dog pulling down the sheets real tight
Oh,
while you're away.
no. My dog doesn't do that.
Well, I think there's a couple of different types of bed makers. There's people that actually go through and make their bed and tuck it in real tight, but then there's the people who do the real half-ass, just kind of pull the sheet up.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's about as good as you're going to see from me as well. Because I'm like, man, it's just going to get remade or messed up the next day. Well, it turns out it's not just a personal preference, but you can learn a lot about a person by knowing whether or not they make their bed in the morning. That's according to a recent survey of 2,000 Americans conducted by market research company OnePoll and commissioned. Oh, who cares? Anyways, it says that the report, which was recently highlighted on the Today Show, found that people who make their beds tend to be adventurous, confident, sociable, and high maintenance. Meanwhile, people who don't make their beds tend to be shy, moody, curious, and sarcastic. Also, play video games and sleep with their dogs.
But you see, I do make my bed.
Yeah, I guess it kind of counts. An effort was made. I
Yeah.
think of making bed as the pillows go back on. Like if you have any throw pillows,
Yeah, I
they
put
go
all
back
the-
on.
I put all that
the
stuff
neck
back on.
rolls, all that stuff. So you are a bed maker.
Yeah. But it's like very minimal. Like I'm not tucking it in. I'm not making sure all the sheets are even underneath.
You're not tucking it.
It's literally just like make sure I cover the bed to where the pillows are, because if I don't, she'll.
This is okay, but this isn't anything to do with your personal preference or the fact that you feel like you're squared away and put
No,
together.
it's the
This is defense against your dog.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's hiding her 10th can of dog food
And what's
underneath the bed.
And what's ironic was when I was married, she would get mad at me for not making the bed. I'm like, I don't need to make the bed for you. Like, it's just I'll get back in. Like, who cares? Like, I can understand if we had constant guests over,
Right.
And it so happened that our bedroom was the furthest room from anything from the front door, so no one should ever be back here.
Right.
But
I will say when I see someone's bedroom or whatever, if I'm in their house and I glance over or I'm sneaking a peek and their bed is made, I am like, huh, they are squared away. Furthermore, bed makers tend to be morning people who rise without alarm clocks. Do you rise without alarm clock?
yeah.
Good God, you're sick. They are likely to work in a health or technology-related field. That's wrong. Those who don't make
Technology.
their bed... I suppose you're kind of right.
I literally designed this whole thing.
Quit bragging.
I didn't like go to Walmart and be like, "How do you do a radio station? Where's the box?
Radio station for dummies.
Yeah, where's the box?"
On the other hand, those who don't make their beds tend to be night owls prone to hitting the snooze button. They tend to work in business or finance. So finance bros don't make their bed. Thought that was fairly
Yeah. Finance
interesting.
bros, I imagine they sleep on the couch because they're like, they've been partying, doing cocaine all day, and it's like they get home.
Like a Wolf
finally.
of Wall Street style?
Yeah, they get home and they like literally the first surface that they can sleep on, they find.
Anything will do.
So that's why finance bros live in lofts, because usually the bed's really close to the door.
Okay, I could see that. They can make a quick exit, too, when the feds raid their house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dick, are you familiar with the term, I'm going to probably butcher this, cryolipolysis?
Yeah, totally. I do that yesterday. I did that
Did
yesterday.
you?
What is it?
It literally is translated into cold, cryo, fat, lipo, and destruction, lysis. So cold, fat, destruction was invented in part by observing what happens when kids eat popsicles. So basically, this is a process that I think pretty wealthy people actually do, because I think this is kind of an expensive thing to do, will go and have their fat frozen off of them in an attempt to lose weight.
How do they freeze it off you?
I don't really know. Maybe
Sounds
they just get
made
a
up.
lollipop and just smack it on side.
Probably in that one hole.
So the co-founders of this process were intrigued, and the only reason I'm reading this is because it is kind of interesting. The co-founders of this process were intrigued by something called cold-induced fat necrosis, which was reported to occur after young children ate popsicles that were inadvertently left resting on their cheek for several minutes. Skin samples taken from pediatric patients like these showed inflammation in the fat, but normal underlying skin. In other words, when pressed up against ice, fat was burned, but your regular skin underneath was fine. Thus, it appeared that the fat may be more sensitive to cold injury than other types of tissues. Pretty interesting.
So cold plunging is going to be in your future, fatty?
I guess so. You ever thought about the fact that, like, cold plunging is something that we do now as part of, like, modern day therapy and all this stuff? And think about people back in the 1800s. If they could see us now going, what are you doing?
Like you're wasting hot.
Yeah,
like
exactly. You live in a day and age where you have hot water at a touch, like an instant to a button, and you're jumping into a cold of moron.
That's what makes you soft.
Yeah, man. So anyways, I just was thinking we might schedule a couples cryolipolysis
we had a
appointment.
We had a guy in the studio.
We can hold hands while we do it.
We had a guy in the studio talk about he does cold plunges before he works out because whatever the science, blah blah blah. But he says
science, bro.
But he says he has 40 ice trays.
That he dunks into the water?
Yeah, because he got tired of buying ice from the gas station or wherever he's buying ice. And I'm thinking, where do you put 40 trays?
Yeah.
Or 40 ice trays?
Yeah.
Like, how big of a freezer?
Probably got a separate freezer just for it.
Yeah.
Good God.
Isn't that crazy?
You ever done the ice bath?
Yeah. It's phenomenal.
I have gotten, like, maybe into my knee to one and said, I have a change of heart
you
now.
just have to get in. Like you just
I don't have to do
get
anything.
in.
You can't make me do anything.
Like
bro.
I like jumping into the water cold. Like when it's
I used to do that when I was a kid. I'd go from the hot tub to the pool.
No, I just jump in. And you just wake up like that. And especially what I love is when you get fully submerged in a pool that's like 40 degrees, 50 degrees. What I love is right when you get submerged, you feel like it's closed at top. Like
right,
you're dead.
That's like, actually your soul leaving your body.
Yeah, I love that feeling because you're like, oh, can I get?
This is great simulated death.
Yeah, I like it. And like everything just feels trapped, and you're trapped.
I used to like it as a kid. Again, jumping from hot tub to cold pool because it made it seem even more cold. But I couldn't do that now, man.
I like doing it naked. It feels great.
I bet you do. The treatment itself takes 35 minutes per application, and multiple applications may be needed depending on how much fat you have to freeze.
That's interesting. I like it. New ways of doing it. People are weird. Go for it.
Yeah. Staying on this theme of fat, there was a case. This is the case of a Norwegian man named Thomas Kraut, and I have to admit, that's a fantastic name for a fat man, who was experiencing a growing stomach that was steadily expanding from a 60-pound malignant tumors. However, doctors diagnosed him with type 2 diabetes and obesity, prescribing him Ozempic instead, all while the cancer continued to flourish inside of him. So this dude was thinking he was just going to go to the local ice store, rub some on his belly to fry that off, and meanwhile, he was dying of a tumor. 60 pounds, dude. This is insane. He was 59 years old, all set to have a gastric sleeve operation, allegedly for his obesity, when doctors realized, actually, you aren't fat at all. He was being malnourished while carrying a giant malignant tumor. I smell a lawsuit. This dude.
That's pretty awesome.
He'd walk in, they're like, so you haven't hit the treadmill, fatty. And he's like, oh, and they're shaming him and stuff. And, take some Ozempic there, big guy. Meanwhile, it's a tumor growing in his stomach.
I mean, you never know.
Said the doctors only ever talked to him about being overweight and his diabetes, Kraut explained per the New York Post. I was given Ozempic for diabetes, and before the gastric sleeve, I had to attend nutrition and fitness courses for several years. Just can't shake this weight, man. Oh, my God. It's terrible. So, Dick, I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, and if I have, I apologize. How long can you hold your breath for?
I don't know, maybe like a minute.
Can you really?
If at best.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't. I've never been able to really hold my breath very well. I got limp lungs, I guess is what it is.
Yeah.
But if I make it 30 seconds, I'm gasping after that. But 1 minute's pretty good. Well, I looked up what the average time to hold the breath is, I guess, for Americans? I don't know. Maybe it's just humans.
I guess it depends on if I'm being active underwater or am I just holding breath.
Yeah, in this case, let's just say you're just not being active. You're just, all right.
I would say, like, if I made a minute, I'd be like, yeah, like, right, I could probably make a minute.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, it says most people can hold their breath for 30 to 90 seconds without any difficulty. Says respiratory therapist, who cares? Would you like to know what the world record for holding breath is?
I want to know if it's over 10 minutes.
In March 2021, a Croatian man, whom I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, last name Sobat maybe, held his breath for 24 minutes and 37 seconds, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, surpassing the previous records by 34 seconds.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man. And of course, the factors of how long you can hold your breath is lung health, mostly physical fitness, body shape and size, age, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
That's kind of creepy, though, because, like, what do you do down there for 24 minutes?
Yeah, when you get bored,
Yeah.
I couldn't get past the thought of, like, I'm just holding my breath.
Yeah.
That happens to me when I'm reading. I can't get past the fact that I'm reading sometimes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, too. I'm like reading, I'm like, geez, I've been reading for a while. I'd be down there going,
I do that with video games.
did I close the garage door? All these weird things.
I've gotten to the point where, like, if I have to do anything before I play a video game, I try to get it all done.
Yeah.
Because I know if I sit down to play a video game, there's a potential of me being there for...
I think that milk I had earlier was expired.
Yeah.
Hope they didn't just see that bubble come up from my rear.
I made some risotto. I made some risotto on Sunday, and because I knew I was going to
This better be a funny story.
It is a funny story.
Because you making risotto, yeah, go ahead.
Made some risotto.
Hit me with the funny.
And I was like, oh, I made it. And then I was like, I'm going to let it cool.
Okay.
And I was like, start playing a video game. Next thing I know, it's like 10 p.m. and it's just been sitting there.
Very saturated, was it? Soft noodles,
It
huh?
was nice. I was like, I'm hungry.
Slow smoked.
So I was like, I need to focus on not playing video games when I need to be doing stuff.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about finding out your ex isn't who you thought they were. Right here in the Audience One Show.
I've been there.
You'll find out.
Audience One, we'll be right back.
Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gull Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
And we're back with Audience of One Show here on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. And just to remind our onesies out there, you can always send us funny articles or anything interesting at audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. You can always donate to support the show and the station at irlonestar.com/AOO.
Yeah, don't let Dick drive around in a lariat. Let him get the platinum. Donate. Sponsor today.
Well, they didn't have a platinum.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, I would have gotten it.
Yeah, I would have.
This is a non-profit radio station. Every donation and or sponsorship is also fully 100% tax deductible. If that's not a reason right there to donate and sponsor, I don't know what is. Oh, Dick, you know one of the things that really, really annoys me, there's lots of things, but one of the things that really annoys me about social media, and more specifically people on social media, is when they make the Facebook posts or the whatever Insta posts, to my daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter is so courageous, and I love my daughter. I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, isn't your daughter like 4? She doesn't have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell her? You're not actually telling her. You're telling everyone else.
Yeah.
And you want to get the credit for having done so, and it annoys the absolute piss out of me.
Well, one thing that's beautiful.
Just tell your daughter.
Let me. So you're complaining to nothing because you can.
Hey, man,
you can
I have a radio
you
show.
Can click on
This
that
is what
person.
it's for.
You can click on that person and be like, "Don't ever want to hear from you again."
I get it, but it's not just one person.
Well, dude, I do
It's
it.
an epidemic.
I do it to everybody.
But you know the post I'm talking about, where it starts off to my
I
son
get
or
it.
daughter.
I love it. And because I always respond, I'm like, "Are you sure?"
It's-
Like you might rethink that in a couple years.
Right, yeah. This is a temporary motion. Kid's
I
going to grow up to be a real
always make
S-head
jokes
in a few years.
about. I always try to do jokes.
Yeah, you never hear him say something like, to my son, you screw up all the time. I'm really disappointed in your grades. I really wish you'd make better decisions. And the girlfriend that you have is terrible. No, you never see that. It's always, I'm gushing over them. They're just the best.
Well, especially since the weird, like I think we talked about that the last show, the political thing with the last election. It's like it's a gold mine for having fun online because like people, it's really strange. Like I told you, one person I saw was connecting like killing pigs because if Trump was in office, more pigs are going to be slaughtered
Sounds logical.
for like I guess for meat. And I was like, is that a bad thing?
I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
I'm also annoyed by the people who take like a daily selfie of themselves, and it'll be like them sitting in their driver's seat of their car. It's like, have a happy Monday. And it's just a picture of him. And then later on that
Why
day,
are you mad
he'll
about
be
that?
sitting in like his desk at work, like, have a good afternoon. And it's like, it's the same. And you start scrolling through their timeline. It's like picture after picture after
You go to
picture.
mine. Mine's all
of the
barbecue
same
and-
person.
I'm barbecuing and chilling.
Here you are on Tuesday at work. Here you are on Wednesday at work. Here you are. It's just like, it's the same picture.
Yeah,
Really annoying.
mine's all barbecue and me
Really annoying.
having a great time.
Yes, that same set of ribs. It could be the same one over and over. I'd never notice.
They're totally different. Though.
Are they? Are they now?
I'm trying to find the people who care about fine crafts goods. You know, it's like
Bar ABQ, baby.
that place is so good.
I know
dude.
it is. I know it is.
Man, now I want to go there.
I'm following them on the old FB.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
How many times have you gone there?
I have not.
Oh my god.
I know. I need to go.
Yeah.
Their pictures
it's
look
probably
amazing.
the best barbecue place.
Yeah, I've heard
I would
that
say
from
it's better than Houston.
I've
like anything in
heard
Houston,
that from
too.
multiple people. So yeah.
Yeah. Just the only thing I would recommend is if you're going to sit outside, go with somebody. Whoever you go with, if they're complainers, don't sit outside
Yeah.
because there's going to be it might be flies, it might be that
Part
kind
of the
stuff.
experience, man.
Well, I mean,
We're eating meat like barbarians. They were
I
flies
went there
back
with my
then.
buddies. It was great.
Yeah.
A wonderful time. We were just joking. There's free beer. They have free beer there. I don't
It's
know
like, don't go to medieval times and then complain about the horse smell, right?
Yeah.
You expect it.
Yeah, it's like a back patio, backyard thing. It's a really nice atmosphere. And then we went with like a couple girls, and they just couldn't stop. Like they even go like, we're gonna wrap our food up and we're gonna.
Girls do not like mosquitoes. I have known, or not mosquitoes, flies. They don't like them. I've
and
noticed
I was
that.
sitting there going like, well, you're gonna eat. Like I want to eat. Well, we can go eat later. I'm like, no, I'm eating right now. I don't want to. Nice seeing you.
You're not the one. Next.
No, it wasn't like that. I don't date girls.
Dick, the other day I rode in a taxi. I don't remember the last time or if you remember the last time you ever rode in a taxi. But this was a weird experience because I'm guessing the speed limit was probably 45 to 50 miles an hour, and it wasn't necessarily a busy time of day. But this taxi driver was flying,
Yeah.
man. He was going at least 60, 65 miles an hour in a 45, okay? Now, never at one given time did I feel like endangered or like he was driving recklessly. He was just driving insanely fast. And it made me wonder, do police officers ever pull over taxi
Yeah,
drivers?
I bet
I
they
never
do.
see it. I don't think I've ever seen a taxi driver pulled over. But they should.
Well, I don't live in an area that has a lot of taxi drivers.
Yeah, you don't see him nearly as much anymore, maybe just around the airport. But it seemed like I used to see him on the highway a lot more. I guess Uber's kind of replaced a lot of that. And I'm sure Uber drivers get pulled over, right? Because they just look like a normal car. If you're in an Uber that gets pulled over, what are you supposed to do? Just kind of sit there and be like, it wasn't my fault. I wonder if you're hammered in an Uber and you're doing something responsible, he gets pulled over and the cop asks you to step out if he could then bust you for
Probably.
like PI or something.
can do
man,
whatever.
That would be terrible. But it just got me wondering because I've never seen the taxi driver pulled over, and I think the deal is he's
remember
driving fast to make more rounds.
I have seen stories of Uber drivers getting pulled over, but the guy in the back gets busted because he had pot on him or something.
No, there should be 1 degree of separation there. Come on,
And
you're
like
pulling him over.
And the Uber driver's like,
I'm just along for the ride here.
Like, am I going to get in trouble? Because technically, if I was driving you and you had pot in the car, I would get in trouble too.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, I would get in trouble too. But like, since he's the Uber driver, he's not. I wonder how that works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think he's probably got some.
So you're gonna become an Uber driver to start searching people before they get in the car.
No, I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah,
I could not be an Uber
glove
driver.
up, baby. Welcome to the Uber experience. Uber up your bum hole.
Okay, one too far. Dick, did you ever get into the Texas Hold'em craze? Were you old enough?
Yeah, I mean, I played before.
Well, then that's different from being in the craze. Because in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was everywhere. I think you were probably
Because
in high school at that point,
it's
right?
more of an entry level for poker players.
I mean, it is poker.
I know, but
It's a form of
it's
poker.
more available for people to understand because you only get 2 cards. Because when you give people 5 cards and you're doing that kind of, people get, because you ever played poker with a bunch of people and they allow them to change the style of game for every dealer.
I guess I haven't.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
I guess I don't.
You never been to a poker table like that?
No, they
Or-
changed the game up just based on the dealer.
Yeah, because the dealer, like, as you're dealing, everyone takes turns dealing. You ever been to a personal?
Oh, okay.
Deal.
So yeah, you're talking about at someone's house.
I'm not talking about at a casino.
okay.
I'm talking about someone's house,
I mean, I guess.
and that's really annoying to me, because now I have to remember what this guy's rules are,
Right. Okay.
and I'm like, no. And Texas Hold'em was the easiest thing because everyone knew the rules to that,
Yeah. Sure.
and it's quick, and
It's a fast-paced game, or
Yeah.
can be.
so
No, it's just that craze hit me right at the right time. I was probably in my early 20s, and it was funny because there were guys that I knew before the craze happened that never played cards, and then all of a sudden they became poker guy. And it was like they were holding games at their house 3 nights a week, and it became like part of their personality just about. And I remember this one guy in particular. That's right, you, Daniel. I'm talking to you. He would host these things over at his house, and we're talking like $10, $15, $20 buy-ins. Not a lot of money. And I'm over there to have fun and hang out.
Oh, yeah.
But his job was to knock you out first round, and he would just bully everybody around and bluff probably, and just go all in like the first round. I'm like, well, what are we doing here? And if I call his bluff and he has something, I'm out. I'm like, well, now what do I do? It's been 5 minutes. This sucks. I hadn't even caught a buzz yet or nothing. Yeah, it's funny, man. But I looked it up, and it says that Texas Hold'em is now one of the most popular forms of poker, and it really surged in the 2000s due to its exposure on the internet, television, and pop literature. But I remember it from that World Series of Poker when Chris Moneymaker won it.
I don't
That
remember
was
that.
you don't remember? That was the guy who really brought it into
my favorite-
popular.
My favorite was in college. I wasn't 21 yet, and when I lived in a dorm, and this dorm was like an old hotel, so it was like cinder block kind of thing, like an old
Yeah.
school. And it was the dorm at that time. The way the school did it was like, if you're really important, you lived on campus. If you were me, you lived off campus. So there's not that many people who lived in this dorm. There's probably like 20 people. So there's a lot of extra rooms. And I found out my neighbor, who wasn't really my neighbor, he just used the next door room to play poker in.
Darn right he did.
And so I was like, one night I was nothing to do, and I went in there and I started making friends with him. And this dude, I don't know, he's that kind of guy you meet that he's always trying to sell something,
Sure.
you know?
Always be selling, bro.
Yeah, and he would sell the most random things. Like he would sell luggage and that kind of stuff, that kind of guy. I don't know what his deal was, but he was always trying to make a deal. Well, at my school, I wasn't 21, and I remember winning a lot of money from him, and he didn't have the money.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, well,
Hey, bro, bet's a bet. Did you
like,
kneecap
owe
him?
me.
Did you cap
well,
his
I go,
knees?
you owe me. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll see. I knew him. And then finally, after like 3 weeks
Send in the meat.
of him continuing,
Knuckles.
well, he's doing the poker game next to me, so I knew where he was. I saw him like every night. Like I was
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? And finally,
Trying to win it back, bro. Trying to
Right.
win it back.
and I go, here's the deal. You're always trying to get stuff. You can get stuff that I can't get. And he's like, yeah. And he's like,
Like women?
no. And,
Oh.
and he goes, I'm not getting you drugs. And I was like, well, give me bottles of liquor then. Because if you can't give me drugs,
Right, sure. Well,
I'll take
close
liquor.
enough.
And so next thing I know, I had like 7 bottles of Wild Turkey handles. And he's like,
Are we clear now?
yeah. And I was like, we're even. And then Well, it's totally like at the school you get in big trouble for that. So
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Well,
of
I
fun.
don't think poker is nearly as popular as it was years ago, or maybe I'm just not running in those same crowds anymore. But it seemed like there for a while you couldn't get away from it. It was on television, and all your buddies, hey man, let's come over and play poker. I'm like, I don't want to play poker anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, this story I neglected to do in the first half of the show, but this is absolutely crazy, and I want you to show this picture to the onesies. But a man who wanted to quit smoking locked his head in a cage and only gave his wife the key. And this is wild, and if you're only listening to this on podcast, this is a man.
I wonder if there's a better picture.
Yeah, it's kind of blurry. I did some
trying to-
searches for better pictures, and I didn't find them. But anyways, if for those of you just listening, it looks like some kind of bird cage device that has been put around this man's head voluntarily so that he can quit smoking. But what I think is funny is he is seen there sipping a straw of water through the cage. And I'm thinking, couldn't that cigarette just reach right through there as well, buddy? Maybe do like the Corella DeVille thing, where you put the smoke at the end and
I don't know.
easily smoke. And do you really think he don't have a key for it? You really think his wife's got the only key? And what happens if she loses that thing?
I like it. I think people find creative ways.
Well, it
to
says
quit
whether
smoking.
you've tried tirelessly for years to quit smoking or you've debated it, but you really want to make sure you'll never smoke again, try placing your head inside of a cage because that's a really good idea. This guy's like from, where is he from? His name is Ibrahim Yusel. I guess he's from over yonder. It all happened in 2013 in the town of Kutahaya. According to the Something News, he settled on this method because his father had died of lung cancer after spending years of smoking. And he was also a smoker and had been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day for over 20 years, and he couldn't stop. So he decided, I'm just going to put my head in a cage and allow only my wife access with the keys. You think they left it on during romantic situations?
I would make that excuse. So I don't do any work. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I
More
don't have-
specific.
I don't have to use my face for nothing. I think that'd be great. That's a great living right there. You got this cage. Playing Smashing.
I would, honey, but
playing Smashing
I
Pumpkins
got
in
the
the
cage
background.
on. And you obviously don't have the key on you right now, so let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Having seen motorcycle helmets, he decided that these would be a great structure for his plan. That's when he took 130 feet of copper wire and fashioned himself the cage fitted with a lock. After finishing the creation, he then locked his own head inside and gave the key to his wife so that the only way for freedom would be during meal times. But it says, of course, because of the tiny gaps between the copper wire, he was able to drink water out of a straw, but could not fit a cigarette in the same space. That's when you go get some Virginia Slims. Work around. What? You're looking at me really funny, man.
Well, I mean, I love people who get desperate like this because that dude's walking to work or whatever, and he sees a guy smoking. He's like, just blow it in my face.
Yeah.
Just blow it. And then,
It's like, just think, buddy, you could be in one of these.
yeah,
Jealous?
don't have to do anything during,
It would be interesting if they extended this to like other criminals. Like, let's say that you were accused of a sexual assault.
Okay.
Okay, you see where I'm going?
You're accused.
Uh-huh.
So
Or
you
found guilty,
gotta
maybe
put a
even.
chastity belt on.
Perhaps. Or just a cage like this.
Or
Copper wire.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think they used to castrate people.
Used to, yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame, isn't it?
That'd be pretty wild. Now that people do it freely. That was a good joke.
Interesting. As teased, a woman finds out that her ex-boyfriend is a serial killer thanks to a true crime podcast. Do you like true crime podcasts, Dick? It seems like these are really popular these days, and it seems as though the ladies tend to like these.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I don't listen to any of them.
yeah. Maybe you haven't even tried to listen to one.
I have not, actually.
Yeah, so
it just
maybe-
doesn't seem like it would appeal to me. I don't know.
I mean, I think the what I love about this story is just the coincidence of everything. Like
Well,
that-
yeah. So she started listening to a true crime podcast about a serial killer when a checklist of items started being rattled off that pointed to her ex. She says the, quote, coincidences, unquote, started when they said the serial killer was from the same state as her ex. Okay, whatever. From there, they gave a time period that the serial killer moved, which lined up with her ex moving to Ohio. Then the height of the killer matched that of her ex. Then his appearance and his first name. Starts to get a little close. She said, and then it started describing his appearance, and I literally, exactly, that's how my ex looks. Okay, things are getting a little weird.
Again, it's probably made up because it's from a TikTok video. Just to let you know.
Oh, you think she's making this up?
That's one of the craziest things about the quick video things. Like people making little videos about, oh, did you know this? Did you know that? I'm like, yeah, I guess I have to take their word for it because I ain't looking that up.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because if you read this article, the way it's read, it's like, yeah, she found out and then she made a TikTok video about it, but I don't think she actually reported it or did any, like, it's like, you don't really know if it's a real serial killer. It just...
Okay, so she's just making this. I thought something was going to come out of this as they found him, accurately ID'd him. You're thinking this is just for clicks. Well, you know what? My apologies, onesies. But I thought.
Well,
it
I'm
was
just in
pretty
the way
creepy.
it's read. You know,
Yeah.
it could be completely true, but it's just like you're just taking some online person's word for it.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose. Thousands of people gathered in Dublin, Ireland on Thursday night for a Halloween parade that was never going to happen. This is from a few weeks ago, but videos posted on social media showed large crowds gathered in central Dublin, but it appears they were all duped by what appears to have been an elaborate online hoax. This is funny. People waiting outside for a Halloween parade, one social media user posted on Thursday with a photo showing crowds lining Dublin's O'Connor Street. This is kind of weird, but you would assume that people in Dublin are going to know a little bit better rather than just reading a post and say, yeah, let's go do this. But apparently it was an advertisement for like a Halloween store. And they used AI, I guess, to help build the context of this ad. And it said, I guess it started pretending or making up things that were going along at that time of the year, of which a Halloween parade was one. And it caught on, and thousands of people showed up to this thing that didn't even exist.
I like it.
Yep, no official announcement,
I mean,
no police,
I
no
don't-
event staff, nothing. These
If
people
I
just-
dressed up like clowns
standing
or
on the
whatever,
side of the road.
I would have partied. I'd be like, oh,
well, we're all here.
well, we're all here. Why not?
I mean, you can see the picture on there. There are, I mean, it is this whole. What's funny about it is they've got the street cleared. Like they know the rules of the parade. They're all very, very patiently waiting for people to come down this street, looking back and forth like a tennis match, and nothing's happening. One guy's like, "Yeah, don't think there's gonna be is that an Irish accent?
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be a parade.
No.
What do you think?"
No.
That's when you start walking like Conor McGregor down the middle of it.
Well, I was thinking. I was thinking about a scenario in high school where they used to do that as a joke, like, "Hey, we're gonna party at this guy's house," and like everyone shows up to that guy's house, but there's never gonna be a party. Like the fake flyers.
Yeah, it's
and
kind of
all-
like what do they call it? Swatting now, but it's like sort of like swatting, just not involving police, just involving party goers.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Is that an actual thing?
Yeah.
People just show up. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's a party at my house tonight." Oh, dude, that sounds terrible. Did this happen to you?
No. Well, actually, it kind of did. Because a party got broken up, and people knew I was at my house by myself. And the next thing I know, I'm coming back from dinner, and there was like 60 people in my backyard.
Get out.
And so I was like, y'all got to go.
I love it. Well, apparently this website was created, had the fake Dublin Parade, claiming it was organized by real Irish performance group, the Machnas. The event was then touted by social media users, once again, on TikTok, according to commentary posted online. It says the website was likely created to generate advertising revenue and included fake reviews, real photos from previous Machnas Halloween events, and fake social media pages on Facebook, blah, 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 blah. So thought that was pretty interesting. What say you?
I'm trying to find where you're talking about.
Oh, that's okay, man. It's all good. Dick, are you a reader? Do you
Clearly
like to
not.
read
I don't know where we are
books?
on this lineup you got me going on.
Oh, like you follow the run sheet anyways, but
Well, because when you start talking about these stories, I'm like, this sounds like crap. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly.
it's there, buddy. All real. All real. No, are you a reader? Do you read books?
I've read books before, yes, but I'm not currently reading anything.
You have read books before.
I mean, I have a library card,
Way to go.
probably more than you.
You're right. Step one.
So
Yeah, I don't read a lot of books. I read a lot, obviously, when I was in college, and I read a lot more now for this show, articles and such. But just sitting down and reading a book, oh my God, I don't like to do it. There's not many things that really hold my attention. Or if I start a book, I can't quite finish it. A lot of it's because I lose.
I read Dune. I read all the Dunes.
Yeah.
I think that was the last real series I got into. Mm-hmm. That was I don't know, 10 years ago. I read 12 books.
Well, this says Americans say they read on average. How many books do you think the average
I would
American
say one.
reads? This says 12.6 books during the past year.
Really? That's
That to
higher.
me
Yeah.
sounds really, really high. But and especially if you think we've got two guys sitting in here, of which we're probably a nice representative sample of the male species. We got big zeros there, right? So that means to bring the average up to 12.6, I think there's people reading 40 and 50, and they are the ones bringing that number up. Because I don't think the average American's reading. I think the median number's got to be something like 4 or 5.
Because I know the only person I know that reads on the reg is my buddy Charles reads and my mom reads. My mom, I grew up. My mom always was reading. If I went into her bedroom.
Don't tell me the one adjective used to describe her.
What?
Voracious.
No.
Seems like I never hear that
She was
word
always just reading.
voracious
She always had the book next,
unless it's about a reader.
She was always reading when she was getting into bed.
Oh, she's such a voracious reader.
She would never read, at the coffee, in the coffee table room or whatever. Then she'd never read at the dinner table. It would always be by the
at the
bed.
right?
So if she got up, if it was a late morning, she was getting oh, I don't have to do anything. I'm going to read for a little bit and then go.
I'm going to start using that term, that adjective, a little bit more commonly now. Oh yeah, that Dick. Yeah, he's a voracious drinker.
You just wanted to say that word,
It's a great word.
I guess.
It says that number though is smaller than has been measured in previous years, right? So I think this one was last done in 2023, and it's so basically what they're saying is less and less people are reading every single year. Boy, there's a lot of charts and graphs in here, but I don't really want to go through all those. It says the decline in book reading is mostly a function of how many books readers are reading, as opposed to fewer Americans reading any books. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. 17% of U.S. adults who say they did not read any books in the past year, such as Dick, is similar to the 16 to 18% measured in 2002, though it is higher than 1999 and 2001. I don't know what this all means. I really don't. But it says the drop is fueled by a decline in the percentage of Americans reading more than 10 books in the past year. So, it says currently 27
All these
reported.
numbers are made up. All these, because what I
This
hate,
is the Gallup.
What
by
I
the
hate,
way.
what I hate about this
News.Gallup.
though is when they do surveys, you get people out there who's like, "Oh, I read 12 books a year," but then it turns out, oh, it's audiobooks.
Yeah, does that count?
No.
E-readers? E-readers, I guess,
No.
technically counts. But audiobooks don't count?
I
in your
don't
mind?
believe. I don't. Only reason I would say that is because now in today's world, everyone listens to podcasts, Audience of One,
Yeah,
every
and
Friday,
you really should.
and it's well, what's the difference between a podcast and an audiobook? If you're listening to a true crime, or if you're listening to an
Yeah, it's just words. Who cares if it's actually from a book or
Yeah.
if it's from the mind droppings of people like you and I? It says the reasons for the decline in book reading is kind of unclear, but perhaps Americans are finding other ways to entertain themselves. It's unclear whether concerns about COVID or COVID-related restrictions, back again from a few years ago, are leading to the decline in visits to libraries and bookstores. See, you over there flexing with your library card.
Yeah, I got a library card.
Yeah, I guess. How are we doing on time, bud?
We're good. We got about 8 minutes.
8 minutes. It's a good thing I have plenty.
I lied. 4 minutes.
Oh, not that we're actually punching a time clock.
Yeah.
Dick, I'm curious to know. You had 5 siblings, so I'm kind of
Yeah,
curious.
one of them's freaking out at me right now. I'm trying to be I can't do anything about it right now.
Silence your phone. Put it away. Put it away.
Well, we got this. It's so stupid when family starts it's when you hang out together for birthdays. Mm-hmm. It becomes an issue. I'm like, it's just a birthday. Who cares?
It only comes around once a year.
But I meant more of like the itinerary. It's like everyone's like, what time are you getting there? Well, you need to be here, but I'm like, no, I don't. I can do whatever I want. Well, if you don't get here, but Dad's gonna be freaking out because you got to be done. I'm like, I don't care. Like, how's that my problem? I'll meet you there.
Okay. Sounds like this is really bothering you.
Oh, it's just one of those. It's kind of like I'm everybody's helper, and I'm like, you don't know how to lift a Facebook.
I can't be everything to everyone, bro.
Well, because this is one thing I hate about social media.
No,
especially
now
for
it's your
old-
turn. Okay.
Well, so the current issue now is something happened in a neighborhood,
Okay.
and I saw a video of it, and then I was like, hey, do you know this is where we live, right? He's like, yeah, that's where you live, Dad. And then he's like, yeah, I saw the same video. And now he's like, hey, when you come for the birthday party, can you download the video for me? And I'm like, you saw it. Like, you got it. Why do I have to come and make a pit stop?
Again.
Again.
You're the IT guy.
And I'm like, you're the one that saw it. And I saw it too. You can download it. And it's one of those things I was like, I don't get it. And then
Well, where I was going with this is,
It's stupid. Whatever
since
you're
you had
saying was stupid.
five siblings, did you ever do one of those things when one of your brothers or sisters was getting into trouble, and you're like, yes, it's not me. You started acting like nicer to your parents, like as they're yelling, you go, Dad, let me take that plate for you, so that you can come off. You don't want to get the wrath of mom and
grew
dad.
up in a weird age
Is there anything I
gap
can get for you right now?
of my family. Because like my oldest brother, I want to say is
Really make it seem like you're the good one. Go ahead.
Well,
yes.
I'm the sixth, so I was born last. But my oldest sibling is like 18 years older than me. So it's one of those things where it's like, by the time I was actually coherent, they were already going
Yet
like
to
to
see it.
college.
Right, yeah. There's
so-
such a large...
So like if they were doing something bad, it wasn't like a learning thing. It was just like, oh, your brother got caught with pot.
You couldn't come off as the good guy.
Yeah,
Look at him.
yeah.
I would never do such a thing, Mommy and Daddy.
Yeah, I
As you're
never.
angling for the next World of Warcraft.
But I do remember when I did get caught smoking pot, and I thought I was gonna get in big trouble. But then I realized what I did wasn't even that big of a deal compared to my brothers and sisters. So my parents were like,
That's all relative.
well, yeah, they were like, do you know? Like, we had a talk. It wasn't like I was grounded, and
Lovely.
it was really weird. And it's funny, never smoked pot again. Until
don't
like
believe it.
after college.
Wait. That's not ever again then.
Yeah,
That's
after
called a
college.
respite.
Yeah,
And I didn't ever do it again
in their house.
until a few years later.
In their house.
You said till after college, just literally a
Yeah.
few years.
I respected
That
the
is
rules.
hilarious.
That's when I learned how to respect the rules of the house.
Okay.
Like
works.
you have rules of the house, don't you?
So many rules. If you're going to smoke pot, do it with Dad, first of all.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. No, of course not. Good God.
Whatever.
All right, let's pretty good time for the quick hit here at the end of the show. Talking about backup cameras earlier, I thought this was a good related story, but were you aware that the 1986 Buick Riviera actually had a touch screen that housed, among many things, controls for the air conditioning and the heating and the radio? And there's a picture of it there, and it looks like what you would think a 1986 touchscreen would look like. But apparently it was not very popular. And my thought is, well, it's not that people in the 80s weren't ready to handle touchscreens. I'm sure it was awesome. As you read on into this article, it's because it sucked. And half the time it didn't work. And they'd push on something, and of course, it wouldn't respond, or the button. You ever had just a really bad LCD touchscreen? You go to touch on it, and it's activating a button that's like an inch away from where you're touching. You're like, no, I was trying to turn the volume down, and it's like changing the heat seater up. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But this is pretty
I'll put a little
dope.
video up for people on our YouTube
Yeah.
and stuff. But
I
yeah.
just was surprised to see this back in 1986, man.
I like it.
It was known as the Graphic Control Center, or CCC, and housed a host of important vehicle functions and displays.
Well, that's one
of
thing I
course.
feel bad about my mom's car. I was telling you earlier in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hers is full. Like my car has physical buttons for like the thermostat and all that stuff.
Look at that steering wheel.
And the screen just kind of displays stuff. Mm-hmm. And then hers is like fully, you can't do anything with the AC or anything without touching the screen. I was like, oh, I don't want a car like this.
No, too much?
Yeah.
It's just too much. This is also cool. It says one particularly cool feature is that it was possible to adjust the sound balance of the audio system, and you could even tweak the equalizer. That's something you don't see on cars anymore. The graphic equalizer. It used to be always, it was like right next to the mega bass button. Yeah, mega bass, and you set your graphic equalizer. Now it's just like treble, mid, and bass. That's really all, and I guess that is a graphic equalizer. But back in the day, they'd have like 10 different things you could adjust, like you were some guy behind a control board at a radio station. Anyways, it says, nevertheless, the Buick's graphic control center was ahead of its time. It was never received particularly well by its customers and was ultimately dropped in 1990.
I mean, I don't like it.
I like having a certain amount of things on touchscreen, but I do still like having physical dials and buttons, man. Especially for things like the volume, things you want to be able to change quickly.
Because I think we talked about on this show, you saw the Tesla, the new Tesla, right? Like the taxi.
Oh yeah, the robo-taxi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know, like, I think we talked about it.
We did. Yeah. We covered it in depth.
And so that's all you're going to see is you probably don't even see the speed limit on it because they don't want to tell you how fast it's going.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to be driving, what does it matter?
Yeah.
And I think we also talked about if it was speeding, who gets the ticket? Elon or you? I mean, you can't.
No, you probably do because it's your car. You buy the car.
That's such crap, though.
It's not like you're renting. It's not like
I can't control how fast it goes.
Yeah, that's your problem.
Interesting. I suppose so. All right, guys, that's all we have time for in this episode. Thank you for your time and attention. Think we got some straight audio there. Oh, it's from the video. Join us next week and in all the weeks to come, everyone. Enjoy our madness. Hopefully Dick won't have as many distractions this time.
No, it's just everyone's blowing me up now.
It's the holiday season, man. It's going to happen.
Can't wait to see everybody.
Awesome, buddy. I'm glad we were able to get the show in this week.
Yeah.
Till next week, onesies. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.